Alrighty, it is that time again. That time again. Hello. Things are a little bit brighter here in Pound Town. What we ended up doing is we're playing with the Creality K2 Plus, and we got on this kick on whether we can print miniatures on the K2 Plus. So what we did before was a test run, and it turned out pretty good for a 0.4 millimeter nozzle set at 0.08 layer height. It turned out really well. So decided, well, we'll prime that and then we'll do a white zenithal on it. And then I decided, well, if we're gonna do this, we might as well try some more. George pops up and says, howdy. Christmas Eve, Merry Christmas, Christmas Eve. Yeah, it's the 24th here in Korea. But yeah, holidays are here. People are going crazy. We just went on to the military base. We finished our workout, and then we went to the commissary and the PX, and there were so many people there. I don't get it. I don't get it. When the holidays show up, it's like Christmas cheer shows up, and people put their brains and they leave them at home because we're in the grocery store and we're going down the aisle and we're turning, and it's like these couple of people just stop at the entrance of an aisle and just talk to each other. And the sad thing was they were people that worked at the grocery store. So they're just stopping there, and I'm right at the cart, and one guy looks at me and he continues talking, and it's like Christmas Eve. There's hundreds of people in there. It's crowded, it's packed, and they're blocking the aisle from people going this way and us going in. So I had to give him the side eye, and it's like, and then it's like the guy looks over, kind of looked down at me. Well, he's not looking down at me because I'm big, but he looks over at me and he has that, I've got my pink. Anyway, George, we were talking about the canned soups, so let's go over here and it was absolutely crazy. Hey, Biggs Android, and we are back. Yes, we are. Discussing the holiday craziness that is going on. So we did did a little bit of grocery shopping. Our Christmas shopping today was a gallon of milk, some gum, ranch dressing, taco shells, and what else? Spray paint. I had a coupon at the PX that was $20, so I got 3 cans of spray paint, and yeah, it was pretty good. So yeah, I think for the spray paint I ended up paying maybe $5 or something, just over $5. So that was our Christmas. That was our Christmas. It turned out pretty, and there were so many people there. It was like, let's get our shit and leave. So we got our stuff and we left, and yeah, we got home, and here we are. And so now we're going to continue on. If you can see over here on the stage, there at the paint station, you can see that gold plate. And on that gold plate are a couple of miniatures that we ended up kind of playing around with. So yeah, we did that. And this video, we're going to take those supports off and see how it fared, because we had to do an emergency support intervention with the masking tape, and I'm surprised that worked. So we salvaged a mini, and so we'll do the unsupporting, I guess is what we'll call it. We'll do the unsupporting, and then we'll take a look and see, I don't know, what else goes on. Let's take a look, and I'll show you kind of a review of, holy crow, there we go. So that was one of the miniatures there. You can see this guy here. Yeah, he's going to turn out, and then the guy in red. We lost a little bit of his axe, unfortunately. I didn't put the masking tape there quick enough. I was hesitant, and so we lost probably about that much of it. So I don't know. We could probably salvage some parts or from, I don't know, some other stuff, and we'll see if we can't repair that in some way, shape, or form. I don't know. I mean, I could always go through and just cut it and then print the other little tiny part, but yeah, I don't think so. And then there's the other one. yeah, these are going to be interesting. These are going to be interesting to see how these came out. We made a couple of changes on these settings. So, and then going back, I think we ended up, let's take a look. Boom. Go back to global, 0.08, and all of that is the same. Classic, wall generator classic, blah, blah, blah. We did this one, and 2 wall loops. We did 5% infill density, which, I don't know, I might bump that up to 8, honestly, because remember how we had the arm, I dropped the mini fell on the floor because the table was shaking because the K2 Plus was going at 125% speed. Maybe that'll hurt when we look at the supports, or help, I don't know. I think it'll hurt a little bit. But the first one that we did, it fell off the table and it broke, and I think that what we should be doing here is we should be doing 3 wall loops, because it is a small 0.08. So we'll kind of up that to 3, and that'll give us a little bit more protection. You know, we could even go 4. Let's just hang with 3. And then sparse infill density, 5%. I think we're good enough because it's just like a 32 millimeter miniature. I don't think we need to worry about that. Adaptive cubic, haven't seen any problems. Everything else is good there. If we take a look at the speed, that is all stock, with the exception of this overhang speed of 60 for 10 and 25%. That is set to 60. And then supports, I went through and I looked at some of the supports, tree auto, tree slim, and on build plate only, and remove small overhangs. We did that. And first layer expansion, blah, 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 blah. And then going down here, I think we're good. Top Z distance, 0.25. I had the first one that we did was 0.24. I tried doing these 2 that we just did was 0.27, and we'll see how that goes. But because I saw some issues when it was printing, I dropped it down to 0.25. So we'll see how that goes. Let's see, some other settings there. Support object XY distance, I set that to 0.4 to make it a little bit further away. And support object first layer gap. This is separation between the object and its support at the first layer. Okay, I don't think we need that. Support distance priority. Max bridge, I think all that is good. Tree support branch distance. Determines the distance between the neighboring tree support nodes. We don't need that. Tree support branch diameter, we don't need that. Tree support branch angle, all of this is stock. Base pattern tree, support wall loops tree. Okay, I think we're good there. And then we're not doing a prime tower, and for this we did an outer brim. So just to give that little extra oomph on there. So we ended up doing that. And aside from the couple of changes that we ended up doing with the supports, I wanted to see how that supported axe was, because we didn't get a real good support on that axe. And if we go on this, and now we can see that we've got a real good support on that axe. So I think that's going to take care of it, because before I had one of these settings, I can't remember, critical support, regions only, remove small overhangs. I don't think I had that checked. And that's why we didn't get good support on that axe, and why we had to put the masking tape in there. So yeah, I think it'll be okay. I don't know, we'll see. So now that we did this, what we're going to end up doing is we're going to go back, since we are back, and we're going to go over to the paint station there, and we will desupport. We'll desupport the model, and we'll try to be careful this time so I don't cut off any limbs or fingers or staffs or hammers or handles or anything like that. We'll give that a shot, and hopefully we'll be good. So let's just go over there, and what I can end up doing is paint station. Boom. And with that, we can go ahead. I don't know how I look on this. Oh, wait a second. Is there even a thing there? Yeah, there is. Okay. I added this little light up here that's kind of shining, and hopefully that'll give me some light. And of course on my tablet, YouTube is reloading. Of course. What are the odds? What are the odds? I thought I checked everything. I thought everything was good. And it's loading. It's like, come on, load. Or resume and load. Keep loading. Okay, so I can't read any comments. So, or see anything. So these are the guys. These are the dudes. We did our tape job on there. And we got our supports and everything. So what we'll end up doing is get Mr. Fingernail, get that brim off of there. And okay, hey, that came out great. So we got pretty good on that. And there's no real big details on this. This is just kind of a simple base. And then this one ended up having some chain, and that actually printed out on the front of that. So that actually turned out pretty good. And of course our bottoms, we split that off so we didn't have the messed up bottom like we did on the other one. As he shoots across the tundra. And always fun having filament underneath the fingernails. We talked about that, didn't we? And this is going to be interesting because we bulbed up the masking tape, and it actually worked. I was surprised. We were going to exclude it. We thought we were going to exclude it. And man, the YouTube on my tablet is just slow as molasses. Let me go get my scraper. That's the one thing I didn't do. So let me go get this. A scraper. Scrape me a tune. I'll scrape off the miniature so I don't look like a loon. Okay, there we go. And I know that's going to be kind of hard to see. Let's see if we can, maybe I can get a little bit of light over here, a little bit more light. Yeah. So I got a little bit of stringing, And then we got some craziness going on. See how those individual lines? So we definitely had some craziness there. This one looks a little bit better, but we still got some individual crazy lines. So yeah, this is going to be interesting. So we've got our nippers, and let us start. We will begin as I drop it. I was just going to say, going to be careful. And the supports are it's like playing that game of Operation. And we add a little bit of buggery right in there. So, not too bad. Again, I would like to see what comments are being made, but yeah, unfortunately my tablet is not being nice. We are hooked up. Let me redo the Wi-Fi, and then we can go back, and we'll see if we can go ahead and hit YouTube again. No, it's still loading. Okay. Let's just continue here, and we will start at the top and kind of work our way down. Boy, those supports are just like coming right off. Maybe that 0.27 is good, but when it's like they're not even touching, it seems like it's too much of a, yeah. I don't know if you can see that, how it's just barely on there. That 0.27 might be a little bit much. Maybe that 0.25 will be the happy piece, the happy spot. Yeah, because these just, boom. Why is it taking forever? Let me restart my tablet. Just power it off, and then we'll power it back up, and maybe I can get it back on. Seriously. Come on. Okay, as that's reloading, let's do a little bit of and okay, it's restarting. We're waiting. So as we're waiting, we will carefully remove. The supports are definitely coming off like way too easy. That is like scary easy. But it's working. It's just the staff. How we have that line of supports and that staff is really, really small. And those supports are not coming off as easy as the other ones. Oh, they did. Ah, good. Maybe a tiny bit of cleanup. No, that actually turned out pretty good. I am impressed. And we'll continue on. We had a little bit of buggery on that. So this is going to be the interesting thing. Will the fingers stay? Did we cut any fingers off? I think we, yes, we have fingers. Amazing. And YouTube still isn't working right. Seriously. Okay, we got that. That's working. But the YouTube app is not YouTubing. Let's see if I can do this. YouTube the varied life. See if we can get it on the browser and see how that goes. Yes, I think we can. Maybe. Fingers crossed. Yes, we are. But I can't read the comments because it's not the, seriously. Well, at least I can see what I'm putting up on the screen, but it's late because the delay. But we'll continue on. And we'll see how this goes. So I apologize for not being able to see your comments. Which is weird. Let me see, can I do that? No, that's not going to work. Okay, oh well. It is not being nice at all. So we'll just continue to do our little thing here, a little operation game. For those of you that remember the upper, oh, I think we broke a leg. We have a broken leg on the battlefield. Broken leg. But I think we can fix that. Yes, we have a broken leg. So we had a little bit, you can see that leg there, one pointing down towards the ground. It is not good. Maybe 3 walls would be better. I think 3 walls would be better on this. So we'll pull out our handy dandy UV resin. And we will get him going. Our little UV pen light here. There we go. We can fix him. So I think the wall loops, we need to do more wall loops, because 2, especially at that small layer height, I think we need to up the wall loops to give it a little bit more strength. So 3, maybe even 4. And if we're talking about a 32 millimeter high mini, yeah, that might be worth doing. So let's see, we need to get a little tiny bit. I think this is working. We're able to fix him. The first one that we did, what we ended up doing is I cut off his staff on his hammer. It's the hammer or the sword? I don't have them here. Oh yeah, that's right, because I just sprayed, prior to this, I primed him in black, and then I did a white zenithal with the spray paint that I just bought at the PX, where there's a ton of people, and people who check their brains at the door when it's the holidays, and they block aisles and they don't think straight. Go figure. Okay. Now we've got a little bit of cleaning up, a little bit there. But wow. I am impressed. I am impressed. Let me see if I can. Oop, we cut off a toe. Let me see if the. Seriously. Trying to do YouTube on the tablet, and of course on the small tablet. Yesterday it was working fine, and today it is not. So let me see if I can get this, at least get part of it. Needs an update. So we'll try updating it. And with that said, I think what we can end up doing is, I don't think that's his. I think this is his. Or maybe it's this one? No. Maybe it is this one. It's this one here. Yeah. I think we can hide his broken foot. I think we can hide the broken foot. We can just add a little bit of UV resin, shine that on there, and I think we will be good to go. So, yeah, let's go ahead and do that. I think that'll work. We're trying to reload the YouTube at the same time, so we'll see how that goes. Christmas in Korea. And try to hold this and shine the light. Try to get some contact on there. Contact. Contact front. 150 meters. Fire for effect. Lay down suppressive fire. So I think we're doing good. See if we can open the YouTube now. It needed updating. Go figure. Everything needed updated. And is it working? Is it working? Yes, yes, it is actually working. So that is good. We got a little bit of a lean on this guy. But I think we will be okay. Let me see if I can get in this a little bit closer. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. We got some questions. Oh, we got George. We got George. We got Big's Android. We've got Sultan pops in. He says, hey, he's just popping in. Steve and everyone, Merry Christmas. Happy holidays, all that. Wonderful holiday season. Unfortunately, no white Christmas this year, which is true. I thought we might get some snow last night, but it just ended up raining here in Pyeongtaek and no snow. But it is what it is. And then, dun, 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 dun. Beautiful nonetheless. What is the largest print so far? Is it the sword? Yeah, the big crimson sword that we did, that was the biggest thing so far, unless you count the helmet. What I did, I'd say the sword is definitely the better of the two. And, oh, seriously? Seriously, I screwed something up because I wasn't paying attention. What are the odds? Wilson, what are you doing? You're not paying attention. I thought I was good. Paying too much attention to the YouTube thing. So yeah, the sword's the big thing. That's the big one. Jigsaw in the corner, watching you remove supports, thinking of a new game. Games are good. Games are good. I was actually checking out a video on One Page Rules to see how to play that game. So I'm watching a battle report of somebody. YouTube has been messing up a bit today. Big says the same thing. Yes, it has. Lieutenant Dan. Lieutenant Dan. That was a good movie. The most horrible person on that movie was his girlfriend. Whatever, Jenny. Jenny, I know what love is. It's a 3D printer with multiple induction heating heads. I know what love is. Okay, I think we averted the crisis. So even though I cut off his toe, aside from that, it's pretty darn good. Let's see if we can take a look, see if you can see that. Let me see if I can set this up. Maybe we can get it to where it's just, I don't know, is it focusing? Can you see that? That turned out pretty decent for, yeah, there we go. That turned out pretty good. Not bad. Look at that. Not bad. Not bad. I think we did good on that one, gentlemen. So let's drive on to the next one. This one is the axe guy, where the axe ended up getting screwed. And this has got a lot of supports. But we had a lot of buggery Look at that. We've got a bunch of these individual lines, a lot of those. That's why I was kind of nervous. It was like, okay, this is going to be interesting because these things are, there's a lot of them. You know, they're just kind of hanging out in space. So we'll see how that goes. Dun, 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 dun. Let's see, let us start with the top and we'll work our way down. Since these things do come off fairly easy. Note to self, do not cut off feet. I don't know if you knew that or not, but don't cut the feet or the staffs. And you'll do a lot better if you don't do those things. Unless you want to represent your character to be like handicapped or whatever. We'll see how that goes. Kate Diaz is back. He says, wow, amazing details on the FDM. I know, right? I was really surprised. I was like, wow. And I set the support, the top Z distance on these on 0.27. And these things are just like falling off. I don't know if I would do that again. Let's see if we can, let me try this. If we can get a little bit of get some light. Just kind of, again, try not to, see how that just falls right off. That is just crazy. Oh, I got that bottom piece falling off there. You got that piece. Wow. Like I said, I am impressed so far. Don't cut the feet off. 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 Whatever you do, don't cut the feet off. So we're getting there. I gotta sit down. I thought I was gonna stand and do it, but it's like my back is like, no, you're not going to do that. Today was arm day. Killed the arms. Killed them. It was a rough workout. And the details on this, again, I am really surprised. So, again, some of these supports are just falling crazy off. I mean, they supported, which I'm surprised, but wow. I got to be careful to not cut the foot off. Okay. Got to be careful. It's almost like I need a magnifying glass to try to like keep track of, no, cut this, not that. There we go. Let's see. Question from George is, what made you choose to print the model separate from the base? Because that's how I got the model. When I downloaded it from wherever I got it from, I can't remember. It came in with the base separate from the model, and these are supposed to be resin printed. So yeah, there's no. That's the reason why. Yeah, that axe is all boogered up. But we kind of saved it. Cut that, and okay, there's the foot. So I got to make sure I don't cut the foot. So we got that. Chris Lilly, hello. I saw printing happening earlier and wanted to see how they turned out. I did 32mm characters on my first printer, Ender 3 Max from 2022. They turned out pretty well. Broke off some small bits when removing the supports. Those look pretty good. Yeah. Primer and paint. Yeah, we're going to do, that's going to be the next little thing. Ooh, 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 ooh. Oh, I got to stand up for this. See if we can get this in there so you can see it. It's a lot that's almost coming off. Now we lost a little bit of the axe that we can see there, but wow. Again, surprised. Let's do, no, that looks good. I just need to, ooh. And I've got these in the resin printed. Of course, they're a little bit bigger. So for scale, we can see that, yeah, we've got a little bit of a difference, but not bad. A little bit of issues, but way better than I expected. And we do have some little bit of stragglers that we can trim, like individual lines, which I don't understand why that did that. And again, for something that's supposed to be resin printed, I am very surprised. I'm very happy. Wow. Guys, this turned out pretty good. I mean, aside from the axe that was boogered up because the supports didn't work, because I used the wrong support setting. I didn't really check it as well as I should have. But we saved that. If you saw the last live stream, we saved it with, as it was ruined, we're going to exclude it, and then we ended up using the masking tape last second, and it was like, hey, it actually worked. So that was a heroic save. That in itself should be worth a like and subscribe. I told my wife about it. I said, oh, you need to like and subscribe to my channel because I saved him from certain death. She just rolled her eyes and said, yeah, whatever. But yeah, pretty good. And again, we're going to take these, and we already primed the first one. The first one that we did that turned out pretty good. Wow, that came out great. Seriously, guys, I was not expecting this good. Imagine doing it on an Ender 3 version 3. Wow. I didn't know it was to make it easier to paint certain areas. I mean, aside from the axe that was a little boogered up, and I think we still got some a little bit of, seriously, we got a little bit of buggered up support action. And how are we going to do that? Okay, that came off, so that's good. Is this, seriously, is this going to work? It might. I think we did. I think it worked. Wow. I mean, it's still a little bit messed up on this edge here, but wow, it is really good. And so what we'll end up doing, wow, I am really impressed. And then the other thing was to, that we were talking about on the other stream previously, was talking about getting a smaller nozzle. And I was looking, we actually looked at the Micro Swiss site that has K2 Plus, and they have brass nozzles that go down to 0.2 and 0.25, 0.3, and then of course 0.4. So this is a hardened nozzle with the 0.4, but you can do a brass nozzle, and I was thinking, well, we could get the 0.25. I don't know if I want to get the 0.2. That is too small. And some people had mentioned that they had problems with that clogging. So I think the 0.25, I think that would be the way to go. So I think I'm going to order one of those. And we will run with that. So in the near future, whenever that comes in, obviously after the holidays, we will try printing some miniatures smaller. So I think you get to like 0.05 or 0.06. I think it's 0.05. I don't know. Does anybody know the smallest you can do on a 0.25 nozzle? Oops. Pay attention, Wilson. Focus. And now we'll pull out our UV pen, which is better than super glue, which reminds me, I need to buy some more super glue. I need to try to find super glue with activator that I can get here in Korea. Getting that in the States is easy, but getting it here in Korea, it is hard. So it's like it's not a thing here. And even though they have it on Amazon, they won't ship it over here. So I think we're doing good on this. And what I'll do is I'll take some pictures of these guys, and then that way we can go back to the desk and I can blow them up on the screen. And I'll take a picture of each of these guys in the black. And then I'll take a picture of the ones that we did on the resin printer. And yeah, we'll take a look and compare. But the resin ones are bigger because they are giants. I think it's like 50 millimeters or whatever. We'll do a little comparison as far as size. But I sized these up to about 32 millimeters because I wanted it to be a miniature, which is usually 32 millimeters. So, matter of fact, let's see what we got. This guy is, yeah, he's 30, I don't know if y'all can see that, but yeah, he's about 37. And this guy to the top of his head, he's going to be a little bit taller. He's like 40. If we can see that there, he ends up being 40. So he's standing on some rocks, but very, very impressive. And then these other guys, these here, we're looking at, this guy's about 50. So yeah, let's get some pictures. Let's get pictures. And with that, we'll need the phone. And we'll see if we can get some good pictures on this. As I drop it. Seriously, really. Dun, 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 dun. Try to get that. It's a little boogered, but it's recognizable on that guy. This guy's better. This guy is a lot better. I'm trying to find a... And then we'll take a look and do the back as well. I am very, very pleased with this. This guy's back turned out better. So we'll see how that goes. And then we'll just do, these are painted, but we can kind of get a little bit of a, oh no! And of course I broke his, I broke him. I broke his staff. That's 2 staffs that we ended up breaking. Damn it. Damn it, Jim. But that's why we have UV resin. So, and it's been a while. These guys, I'm surprised this hasn't broken off earlier, to be honest with you, because this guy has been waiting to get painted forever and a day. And let's see if we can't glue that and get him back to where he's supposed to be. Man, I'm just all over it, huh? And this is painted too. But we can fix him. It's kind of like it fell in slow motion. It's like, no! It's like, no! But at least it didn't break anything else. But again, these are resin. So, okay. Crisis averted. Just a little out there. So let's see if I can not break it. And that guy, careful, careful. And this guy, don't drop him. And now we can end up doing, so we can go back to the desk. Let's see, happy to see what FDM could do. My friend has a resin printer and I just can't. I liked how you saved the print with tape. Yeah, that turned out pretty good. I've never been around when something went wrong. I just realized I was 5 minutes behind. Oops, caught up. No biggie. No biggie. It is all good. So we can take these guys and we'll go back to the table over there and we'll send the pictures. And we'll see how it goes. Okay, so first of all, thanks for everybody showing up. Chris Silly, that's your name, okay. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you aboard, along with everybody else. Let's see if we can send these to my computer. You want that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, and that one. X, giant, okay. Now, can we do airdrop? Ah, yes, we can. The one time that airdrop worked. I had such horrible time with the airdrop. Oh, yeah, that's going to look good. Okay, so what we can end up doing here is let's move some stuff around. We'll kind of put this around here. And then we'll take a look at the big picture. We'll take a look at the big picture first. So you can kind of see what's going on, and we will adjust this like that. So that's about 50 millimeters. That's resin printed. So yeah, that turned out pretty good. I would say that turned out good. Do a little bit of cropping here, and then we'll, so you can see that turned out really good. You know, for a miniature and stuff like that, that turned out well. And you can see the details. I'm pretty impressed with it. Of course, it's a resin printer. The painting, I got to do the base and then it'll be done. So one of these days I'll be done. I need to do up on like the horns that come down, I need to do a wash on those. But yeah, and the base. I just got to do the base and call it done. So we've got that one. Now let's take a look at the other dude, the big axe dude. And let's do a little bit of cropping here. And we'll do the same thing. Boom. And we can see there he is. Great miniatures. And I can't remember where I got them from. They're frost giants. But I can't remember where I got them from. So, yeah, but you can see the details like the fishbone, the armor, the wraps on his thighs, the boots, the leather on the loincloth type thing that you got going on, the gold chains and all of that, the spikes. Definitely the axe. We're going to lose a little bit of the axe, but that looks pretty damn good. That looks pretty damn good. So now what we can end up doing, let's take this and let me see if we can crop this in just a bit more. And then what we can end up doing is I'll bring in the picture of the axe dude. And so then we'll do a side-by-side comparison. And take a look at axe dude. And we'll try to cut him off at the same place. And even though the axe, he got axed, his axe got axed. There it is. So we need to go there. What do you think? That is the one in color is 50 millimeters, and the one that we just did is 32. So it would probably look something like that. Is what we're looking at. If we put those side by side, let me see, double check that. Because I want to try to get a good estimation on this to see. So he would come up, no, we need to go smaller. Smaller, which would be about, Try to do his size. His head's going to be right up, maybe just a little bit bigger. Probably about right there. That's about as good as I can get it as far as an estimation. So I don't know. That looks, for black, and it's PLA. We still need to do, we'll throw some black primer on it, and then we'll do a white zenithal. And then the real interesting thing is we'll go back and we'll paint, and we'll see kind of, we'll use the same thing, same colors and everything, and we'll do that and see how it turns out. Chris says, that's impressive. I'm impressed. Chris says you almost need to print one the same size as the resin to see how close they are. Yeah, I know. I was so caught up in, I wanted to do a 32 millimeter. I just shrank this down. Otherwise I would have left it at 50, but I really wanted it to be mini, the real miniature. So, but yeah, you're right. you're right. I wasn't thinking. David Martin Graff pops in, says, how do you know it's possible, if it's possible to print a working slinky? I think you can. I think you can. I know there's people that have done like springs and, you know, and PLA and things like that. So it is like an action spring, or kind of a wind-up spring. I imagine you could do a slinky. I haven't seen one, but I don't think there would be any problem in printing a slinky. Might not be as slinky-ish as real slinkies are, but yeah. Chris Silly says, yeah, I've been there. Yeah, I've left my brain at the door, and it's like, okay, we'll see how that goes. So that turns out pretty good. Let's take a look at the backside of the axe dude. Let's bring that into play here. And we'll just blow this up so that way we can kind of get a good look at the details. And like that. So that's a 0.08 layer height on a stock, not a stock, but it's a 0.4 millimeter nozzle. And it is missing, if you look on his back, it looks like there's something going down his back on the right side of it. There's supposed to be a chain, which that chain kind of worked because it is connected to the body, but then there's supposed to be a chain on the other side. And if we take a look at that, so you can see those two chains there. And will this focus? Probably not. But that chain on the back of the resin one, it is actually, there's space between the body and the chain. So I wasn't really expecting that to be printed out. But everything else, though, is pretty decent. I mean, the little round part on just above his butt, there's supposed to be some chains going across that we end up seeing. You can kind of see there. And again, I wish this thing would focus. But you can see the chains and everything. It's not as crystal clear, but for a 0.4 nozzle at 0.8, I'm pretty impressed, actually. So we got that guy. And we'll prime these guys up, and what we'll end up doing is taking it and then prime them, then we'll go back and we'll paint, and then we'll do a comparison. Yeah, one is going to be a little bit smaller than the other. But let's see how we've got the hammer dude. Hammer time. And we'll do a little bit of cropping. Hammer got a little bit buggered up, but not too bad. And we'll just make this guy big. Try about the same size that we see there. So you can kind of kind of look at it and kind of have a similar reference. That turned out pretty decent. I mean, the face is recognizable. We do have some, you know, a little bit of stringing on there if we hit this thing with like a blowtorch type thing or a lighter. Yeah, it's not bad. It is not bad at all. And we got some good details on the front. We got the chest. Didn't get a lot of the handle on the chest. If you look at the one on the left and you see the handle down below, the one on the right, we can barely see an impression of that. So obviously some limitations, but it's definitely recognizable. That's for sure. And we got a little booger. So I'll probably just hit a lighter over this to get rid of the little stringies that we got going on there. And that should fix that up. Let's take a look at the back of Hammer Dude. And again, we'll do a little bit tiny cropping here for your convenience and mine. And even though we don't have Hammer Dude with the painted version in the back, we can still see that pretty decent. I mean, it's a little muddled. Let me get that other character. And make sure I don't drop him again. Don't have to want to do surgery again. But if we look at the back of Hammer Dude, you can end up seeing there, you can see the details and pretty decent. I mean, again, it's muddled. It's not going to compete with resin printing, but the whole thing on this is to take these, if we can print them out, and both of these were like, what, 37 cents? 33 cents? What did it come out to? 33 cents for these two guys. So printed these two guys out at 33 cents. Not bad. Took two and a half hours, something like that. Not bad. And boom, it worked out well. Let's see. So let's get these other. I'll try to get a picture of Axe Dude. I'll throw Axe Dude up there. And we'll make him a little bit bigger. And then we'll get Hammer Dude. Hammer time. And we got him going. And you can see, I mean, for tabletop gaming, if you weren't really concerned about, you know, we got a little bit of stringing, but you can recognize the character, that's for sure. And I'm really interested to see how this will look with the priming, and then, so we're going to do a black primer, and then we'll do a white zenithal, and then we'll come back and we'll use the Army Speed Paint 2.0, and we'll see how that goes. Let's see, let's get some questions, comments. David Martin Graff says, I remember seeing 3D printing at CES in 2014. Wow, that was way back in the day. Chris pops in and says, I like how printers are now about printing. Even up until fairly recently, it was a tinker hobby, hence the upgrade. Yeah, I mean, when you, back in the day, yeah, you were a tinker person and you printed some stuff at times. Now it's like you've got, you know, the sword in the background, and we got back there, you know, helmets, all kinds of cool stuff. Statues, figures, life-size stuff, small stuff. It's pretty amazing. It is pretty amazing indeed on how we don't have to tinker as much as we used to. You know, automatic bed leveling, remember? I mean, that's all the norm these days. LiDAR and this and, automatic pressure advance and flow calibration is all done with sensors and all you just put in your model and print. Chris says, love the Ender 3 Max, but took too much fiddling. Yeah. David says those 80s Marvel, Avenger, X-Men, Fantastic Four comic books, just scan and three-dimensionalize print them. Yeah. And though that's the crazy part, is with all of that stuff, totally wild in the fact that now you can go text to, let me get the camera back, boom, then now you can go text to image and, AI does all that stuff and AI can take it from text to an image, and some of these things can go from text to STL and you download, boom, you're done. It's just amazing. So whether you have an image or whether you have text or a combination of those two, you can pump out custom-made STLs, models, figures, whatever it is. It is pretty impressive. Just kind of like the same thing with the fake music. Y'all heard the fake music? I'm old. I'm 59. But yeah, if you youngins ever heard of the fake music, they take songs from today and then they put it through the AI generation whoozy thing and it makes the song into a different genre. So, like Eminem, Without Me, is in a 50s soul cover. Oh my gosh, it sounds so good. It's like, I think music died. I think music is dying. I think we're going to get to a place of where, on a past stream, somebody suggested an AI website that makes songs. So I put in a thing and said, hey, make a song about, I don't know, let's see, can I find that? Documents, adjustments, PDFs. I want to say, because I made some songs, documents. Dun, dun, dun. No, it's not a document. Duh. It's not that. It's not an image. It's not a PDF. Screenshot. MP3? MP4? Was it? But anyway, on this website, I put in and said, hey, make a song about overcoming alcoholism and, with a man's raspy classic rock. Was it MP3 or was it MP4? Let me look at because I made some songs. I think I downloaded them. Let's get some comments before we do that. David says there's something about those comics and Sports Illustrated cover books and printing to life those covers would be pretty wild. Suno, yeah, that was wild. It was pretty impressive. There's a good one, Conway Fitty, Into Club. Yeah, they did also a soul and jazz of Into Club. So that was really cool as well. Let me see if I can find, okay, that's bass, blah, blah, blah. I'm trying to look for, okay, that's old stuff. Previous 7 days. I knew I saved it. Where did I save it to? Folder JPEG image, library. Nope, that's a picture. JPEG, MP4 movie. No. Documents, PDF image. Standard format, i7 screen recording. Oh, maybe it was some of this. I think maybe I screen recorded it, maybe. Let me see if I can. It's an MOV file. Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. Oh, Suno. Yeah, it was the Suno. Let me see if... Oh, seriously? No? Oh, it wouldn't do the audio. Oh, no. Let's try to go to Suno. Hold on, guys. I really want to check this out again. Because that Suno was awesome. S-U-N-O. Suno creators for music, blah, blah, blah. And hopefully it'll remember me, my library. Oh yeah, here we did some. So we did some stuff with Suno. So if we take a look at this, there it is. And I just put in some text to create, and I did a number of them. So I started off with like steady drums, raw, male vocals, whatever, raspy voice with rock. Check this out. Isn't that insane? Hopefully I'll get some of the words. That is crazy. Is that awesome? That is kind of wild. And so I kind of played around with that. And then I did Iron and Resin Dreams. It was kind of a rap-ish. But I mean, you don't need to know music. You don't need to learn how to play an instrument. You don't need to know riffs or anything. It's just, this has killed music, and I'm pretty surprised that it's this good. Told you. Amazing. Ooh. Yeah. Bench pressed under my chest on fire. Printers humming, my dreams climb higher. Filament trips like molten truth. Every rep, every print redefines you. Nail on my palms, grip like steel. Calluses grow, the pain I feel. Crafting a legacy, flexing my wheel. The very life where the real gets real. Wow, that is absolutely crazy. That is crazy. Okay, let's get back to. I had fun on the Suno. Yeah, and you can do any version of or genre of music. You could do it honky tonk. You could do soul, jazz, whatever it is. I mean, you could do male, female voices. You could say, hey, make this song with the male's raspy voice and a female accompaniment, and then like a choir background included in the chorus, and it made up the lyrics. Isn't that insane? You would never know that was all AI. Crazy. You can make your own songs. You can do your own playlist. Screw everybody else. Yeah. Let's see. Let's get to some comments. It's interesting that the first commercial 3D printer was a resin printer in 1986. Really? Wow. 86. If it was early 86, I was Fort Sill, Oklahoma, going through AIT. That's amazing. Big says, if you have an account, it should still be on the Suno. Yep. Thank you. I think you're the one that recommended that. Thank you. That is pretty cool. David says, Apple Silicon or NVIDIA for 3D modeling. I don't really do a lot of that stuff. I do like Tinkercad. So, I'm not a 3D modeler. I have, what do I have? I have Lightburn, Prusa, blah, blah, blah. I think I've got Fusion 360. I think I've got FreeCAD, but I've done next to nothing to learn how to use those. I do Tinkercad, which is like child's play Tinkercad. But there's some people that do Tinkercad that just blow me away. So I'm just telling you, it's like coloring crayon, 12 coloring crayon box paper. That's my level. So when you start asking about Silicon and Apple and NVIDIA for 3D modeling, I have no clue on that at all. You are smarter than me on that. So I don't know. I have no experience with that. George says the battle is coming organic products versus synthetic AI products. I know. My wife likes the 40s and 50s, the 50s music. She likes that stuff. Even if you go back to the 30s and 40s, some of that music there, she likes that. Of course, I like that as well, but then I also like rap and rock and all that stuff. I have a very eclectic library of stuff. I'm not a dedicated one type of genre. Even listen to some classical from time to time. But it's amazing on how you can, on Spotify, you can get a playlist, say fake music, 50s and 60s, or soul and jazz and, covers, whatever. And some of these songs are really, really good, It just 50s doo-wop, all modern songs redone in fake music, and it's surprisingly good. It's just kind of crazy. So, there's a battle that's going on. It's going to be doing that thing there. I do have the little miniature that we did the previous stream, and I spray painted in black, primed in black, did the white zenithal, and we'll see how that works. So let me go get that real quick, and I want to show that to you. So if you got any questions, go ahead and put it in the comment. You also get some time. You can like the video. Apologize for the noise. There's the airbrush. Oh, guys, this turned out fantastic. Oh my gosh. This turned out really good. This is going to be surprisingly good. I do got some little squigglies on there. I need like a brush. Of course, the first thing I thought was my toothbrush. That probably wouldn't be a good thing. But if it's my toothbrush, well, I can do a brush. I can do a brush. Oh, guys, you're going to love this. This is impressive. Oh, this is so impressive. So this is the guy we did. Let me see if I get my look at that. Now I'll get some pictures on the phone and we'll throw them up on the screen. But look at that. Holy crow. That is pretty amazing. The details on that. And this isn't 32 millimeter, but you know, that's all off an FDM printer, the K2 Plus, which has a 350 cubed build area. So, you know, just do a little comparison there. I mean, that's not that much bigger, but looks so much better with Prime and the white zenithal. I think that's going to look really good. Let's get some pictures. Must have pictures. Okay. Let's see if we can't get this to where we get a good picture with some decent lighting with the black-ish background, and see if we can't get the focus there. Oh, one more. Then we'll do that right to there. See if we can't get like a 3/4 view-ish. This turned out really good. I mean, the paint that hides some of the layer lines, and I'm surprised at how well that works. Let's see. We get some questions. Oddly, I have a set of toothbrushes that I use as tools. That's what I need to do. Yeah, these turned out nice. Yeah, that painted one turned out nice. Big says, I need to hurry up and get my AMS. I'm ready to go big already. No diddy. Oh, he's got jokes. He's a joker. That was good, though. Let's see. Okay, so we want that one. No, we don't want that one. We want this one, that one, and that one. And we will airdrop this. We'll take a look, and we'll throw this up because these do look good. So, you ready for this? This is going to be good. I'll kind of move this around. And now, dun, dun, dun. Oh, I need to rotate this, do that. We're good there. Okay, check this out. This is going to be good. I am really surprised at how well this turned out. And here we go. Look at that. I mean, that is pretty impressive for an FDM printer. Wow. I mean, it's a little muddled. It's a little muddled, but it's pretty darn good. Let's take a look at, so there's that one. We'll take a look at the back. I got to turn that around. I mean, it's still got some little fuzzies on there that we need to brush off. Let's take a look at this one. And the same thing. Just, wow. Look at that. That tabletop, can that work for tabletop gaming? Can these work for tabletop gaming? I think so. I think it can. Let's get this one up there. And again, we'll do a little bit of crop action because you all deserve the best, or the best that I can give. You deserve better, but I mean, but look at that. That is pretty good. Again, it just needs some little brush up on there, but throw on some speed paint. And if you're not like super concerned about your minis and you just want something to put on the table and we'll paint this and we'll see how it turns out, I mean, that's doable. I mean, excuse me, that turned out really nice. I mean, considering it's, how tall is that mini? We got to do a comparison. Let's see. So the white guy is 55. So this is 55 millimeters tall from his back leg to the top of his head. So that's pretty good. And then we ended up doing the smaller guys that we end up seeing there. And these guys, we ended up, like that guy is 35 millimeters. And this guy, which is a little bit bigger, he's 40. So we did those. I am pretty impressed. And let's just throw up the other guys that we ended up getting. So there's the hammer guy, and we'll get rid of that guy. And that turned out pretty good. And then, where's the other guy? Hammer guy, where's our axe guy? Axe guy, where art thou? Did I not send that? I know I sent it, because we took a look at it. No. Why isn't it not on the picture? Oh, there it is. So here's the axe dude that we ended up doing. And look at that, the details on that. Those are pretty impressive, gentlemen. I am pretty impressed. I don't know if you are, but I am. If you can take a look at those. Those turned out really, really good. I mean, the axe, and again, it's kind of muddled up, but for what we're looking at, I mean, if you weren't concerned about aesthetics and you just needed players, you just needed pieces to go onto the screen or onto the table for a game, paint them up, boom, little speed paint, you're good to go. Throw it on the table, you are good. All oiled up and ready to go, yes. ITS A critical. I have an Elegoo Centauri Carbon, and I'm very happy with it as it's my first Core XY. I still have my bed slingers, Ender 3 version 3, and my Ender 3 Pro I still use. Cool. Awesome. That's nice. George says he almost grabbed the Centauri Carbon. I mean, the price on that was like awesome. And it's still, that's pretty impressive. I mean, printer price has gone down. And we all thought that during the trade wars, the tariff wars that were going on and everything, that people were like, oh no, the printers are now going to go up 20, 30, 40% or whatever because of the tariff wars. And the prices actually went down. That was actually crazy. I thought, because either they must have a lot of profit on there, and to drop it that much that they're still making a profit, and they just don't want it setting on the shelf. So it's rather make a little bit of profit than no profit and just having it collect dust. So that has been actually a good thing for 3D printing people. Let's see. It's a critical, says for the price of $275 when I got mine. It's a good printer on a budget. Exactly. That is insane that you can get good prints out of it. That's the other thing. The price of printers have gone to the place of where you're not tinkering as much and you're printing and you're getting good prints. And the majority of files that are out there are all geared around that 256 cube build area. The sword that I did and all the other stuff, helmets, cosplay, all of that stuff, everything was made for 256 cube. And so that's kind of been the standard. So when you get larger printers, I mean, that's gravy. That's a bonus. But you don't need a bigger printer. That's the whole thing. It's like everything was geared towards, the Bamboo and the A1 and the A1 Mini or whatever the hell that was. And even their earlier ones were 256 cube. So everybody was building it to that build area. Same thing with Prusa and everything. Just pretty wild. And the price, $275. You got to admit, that's a damn good price. That is a damn good price. So, yeah, thumbs up to you. That is awesome. Man. After the gym, we went to the food court, and I got Charlie's Steakhouse. I got this big old sandwich and chowing down on that. Fries, cheese fries. I pigged out because it was Christmas. So, it's Christmas Eve here, so we kind of pigged out, and I'll probably have a drink or two tonight. But other than that, the rest of the week we should be good. So just splurge and cheat today. But yeah, going through, because we were talking about Christmas. Christmas is here. So the wife and I were here in Korea, and we're thinking about, what Christmas presents should we get? And it ended up being a gallon of milk, ranch dressing, some tortilla shells, what else? Some spray paint, and that was pretty much our Christmas shopping that we did. But yeah, I'm thinking, looking at getting a second printer. The regulars here know that as well. Everybody's thinking about getting a second printer. Let's just be honest. Everybody is thinking, if you have a printer, you're already thinking about getting a second printer. I know you are. I won't tell your significant other. I understand. We're safe here. But I'm seriously considering that Core 1L. That is just, we'll see what's going. Ooh, I just had deja vu. Did you ever have, that is weird. That was super clear. It was just this moment that we were talking about getting a second printer, all of that stuff, and then it flashed in my mind as a, deja vu thing, and a glimpse into the picture that there was a problem with getting the Core 1L. Oh my gosh. Wow. That is weird. That is weird. But it was just that little tiny moment in time. I don't know if it was because of the VAT tax or something. There's some kind of problem, but it wasn't like a mechanical problem or a damage problem. It was something, maybe it was the VAT tax thing. I don't know. That was weird. Okay, anyway. Welcome to my world. Let's see. George says, it's simple business. It is better to sell a lot at a low price than a very few at a high price. That's true. Yeah. And better to sell them at a low price than not sell them at all, even if it's low or high price. So the only thing I have to say about that is I don't like about the Centauri Carbon, it does not have an app like Bamboo. Yeah, that's true. But Bamboo kind of locks themselves in. And on Reddit, I saw something where somebody was talking about how they used an aftermarket nozzle and the printer didn't like it and it wouldn't print. So the enclosed garden that Bamboo has made by making sure that everybody has to use their app, and that if you don't have the app, you can't basically print because you need to get that authorization token that goes up to their servers through this authorization thing to your printer so that you can print. Yeah, there's absolutely no need for that whatsoever. Even when Bamboo said, oh, we're getting 2 million hits a day on our servers, it's not secure. So we're doing this thing as a security thing to protect you. And it was like, people that had Bamboos were like, oh, I'm not getting hit with anything. It's your servers that are getting hit. You need to work on your security. Don't. But then that fell on deaf ears. And so, yeah, it was not real happy with Bamboo. And I thought about getting the H2S, the single nozzle one, but then I was like, Prusa is coming out with some stuff. And then, of course, with the Bondtech Index and the induction coil heating and all that stuff, I was definitely going to wait for that. Snapmaker U1, that came out. And it was like, that little bit inside you is like, oh, ooh, that's a good one. Let's get that one. And then it's like the common sense and the logical side of the brain, the little small part, says, no, wait, because they're going to make a bigger one. So just be patient. But yeah, we'll see how it goes. Yeah. Biggs Android says, I want a second printer already, Bamboo H series. You got to admit, Bamboo, even though they locked in their ecosystem and everything and all that, they get some good quality prints. You can't argue against that. That's for sure. And that's why I was considering one of the H's as well. It's a Critical says, between all my FDM and resin printers, I have 10 in my garage, 4 resin printers, 6 FDMs, and a partridge in a pear tree. So, wow. Yeah. How much is your allowance do you get every month? Does your significant other care, or do you have a significant other? Inquiring minds want to know. I get an allowance, but I could easily... 3D printing is like crack. It's like meth. The first one, yeah. The wife, I was like, wife, I want a resin printer. And the wife is like, well, what does it do? And it's like, and it worked, because it's like, with the little miniatures for Moorhammer, it's like, remember how I bought these 3 or 4 guys and it was like $50 or whatever? And she go, oh yeah, I remember that, or $30, whatever it was. I said, well, with a resin printer, I can make similar ones for like pennies on the dollar. I'll save so much money printing my own miniatures with resin printing. And she's like, oh, okay, well, and I paint them and all this stuff. And she's like, oh, okay, well, that's good. And then it's like, oh, so it's, how much is a resin printer? And then you give the price, and then it's like, it's not just the resin printer. You need the wash station. You need the cure station. You need IPA. You need gloves. You need, there's always, you need resin that you need to buy. Oh my gosh. And then it's just, there's always more and more stuff. And then finally it was like, so that's all you're going to buy, right? And it's like, for resin printing, yes. So I chose my words wisely. I said, for resin printing, yes, I don't need anything else, which was true. I didn't lie. And then the 3D printing came in, and she's like, but you have a printer. I said, yeah, but that's a resin printer, and you don't like the smell of the resin printer, do you? And she's like, no, not particularly. I said, well, this FDM printer, it's larger. I can make some cool things for you, which I did. Honestly. And, well, how much is that going to be? And then the same thing. It was like, okay, well, you get the printer. Is that all you need to buy? Well, I might need a couple other things, Filament dryer, you need that. And this, you need some tools. And this, you need filament. And, well, how much is the filament? Well, So I made some pretty beautiful artsy things for her, and, roses and names and lovey-dovey type of jewelry box thing and stuff. So I dodged that bullet. But now it's a second printer. It's like, why? I just need to save up my allowance every month. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But that's a lot of printers. 4 resin printers and 6 FDMs. That's pretty well. George ends up saying the first true open source printer will win the market. Could be if they can protect it. Yes. And not Bamboo, but Prusa they're doing that thing that nobody's done before, that you can download it. You can make changes, and it's all open source. All the pieces and parts or whatever, you can modify it to your heart's content, but you can't sell it. And that is going to be interesting. I think a lot of people are going to jump onto that, and that is really going to bust open the seams for Prusa in the fact that now it's going to be modded to high heaven as long as you don't profit off it because it's open source. So there's some kind of weird thing that's going on with that, which is really, really interesting. And then they have their printer to where it can operate without any authorization token from Prusa. So in other words, if you want to use the Prusa app with your Core 1, your Core 1 Plus, or Core 1L, and whatever other thing, you can do that. It's not required. So if you just want to open up the box, plug it in, take your USB stick, and do your secret super printing on your own, and not be hooked up to the network or the internet or anything, your printer will work. Not so much with the Bamboo. So I think that is going to carve out a huge niche for Prusa, because I know after being in the military and working for the state of Colorado as an electronics technician and working in corrections and things like that, on, electronic-y type things, that having that insulation away from a requirement to hook up and get an authorization token via the internet, that's going to play a huge part. And I think that they're stepping into an area. It's going to be really good for Prusa to do that. And so I think the two big boys on the street are going to be Bamboo, Prusa. I don't know if who would you say would be, say there's a top 5 printing companies, Bamboo, Prusa, excuse me, who would the other 3 be? I don't know. That'd be an interesting conversation. Excuse me. It's Critical says, bought them cheap. I paid no more than $100 for my bed slingers, no more than $100 for the resin printers. Just know where to get good deals. Yeah. I love the people that don't know or don't like what it entails, and thus you get a good deal. Centauri Carbon is my most expensive printer I have. Cool. Sounds like me. I've never bought a new car in my life. Never bought a new motorcycle in my life. Yeah, we always bought used. But the Saturn III Ultra, of course, I bought that new. Being in Korea, there's not a big market for used stuff, unfortunately. So yeah, it is really, really, if I want a printer, I got to buy it. And I got to pay retail and then a little bit more because of the VAT tax and stuff. So It's a Critical says use them for printing my D&D stuff. I used to play D&D back in the day. 1980, if I'm not mistaken, is when I started playing D&D. 80 or 81, something early 80s. David says, I have my own 80s Dungeons and Dragons books around here somewhere. Wow. I used to have them, the old time books. You know, I think I had a book signed by Gary Gygax, to be honest with you. And then my parents got religion. And then my comic book collection that I'd been collecting since my grandfather bought me comics. And then I had boxes and boxes of comics as a kid. And so when I was, 13, 14 years old? I think it was like 13 years old. Yeah, I was 13. And my parents got religion. And I came home from school one day. All the comic books were gone. All of the D&D stuff was gone. Everything was gone. Oh my gosh, I was livid. I was pissed. Because apparently God didn't like that. So, but it was okay for my mom to keep her Beatles record collection. Apparently those are okay. But the D&D and the comic books with Superman and, Spider-Man, the Hulk and all those, I had some old comics. My grandfather gave me comics. It's just like horrible. Horrible, horrible. I don't know. Excuse me. Critical says D&D is the reason I got into 3D printing. Save a lot of money by printing minis and terrain. That is absolutely true. Matter of fact, I printed out some stuff for my daughter who's into D&D. She's a doctor, but she's into D&D and does that stuff. So I printed her out some stuff as well. So that was kind of another thing to jockey into positions. Well, if I buy a 3D printer, I'll be able to make some cool stuff for our daughter who's into D&D. So my wife is like, oh, okay. I made some cool stuff for her as well. So she's come around to it, and she acknowledges that the printers keep me out of trouble. I go to the gym, I print stuff, I talk with great people like you all, and it keeps me out of trouble. And I do painting and miniatures and whatever. I haven't done any gaming. The last gaming I did was 1983, I think it was. That was the last time I did D&D. So, David said, here's my Advanced Dungeons & Dragons Player's Handbook from the 80s. Wow. I remember having those books. Oh, and they're all gone. I had the little miniatures. I had so much stuff. Oh. I think it was like 80 to 83. And I went on a spending spree on that. So, of course, if you get one, you got to get all the D&D books. And then you had the miniatures. And then, we had games. And, had a bunch of people involved. It was really, really fun. I wish I continued that on after I joined the Army. But I didn't. It's adult stuff. I did adulting from 17 until I recently retired. So, oh no. What's going on? We had a glitch in the Matrix. I don't know. Holy crow. Wow. That was the first time that's ever happened. Things like flashed on my Mac for the program, for the Ecamm Live that we're streaming. And then cameras went out, and then one camera came back. The other two were out, and now they're all three back. Wow. Excuse me. It's Critical says, 2017 is when I started playing D&D. My daughter's trying to get me back into it. She doesn't play here because she's actually stationed here at a military base as a doctor. She hasn't played. She plays online with people that she knows from the States. But I would like to do that in person, maybe. I'd like to do one-page rules, maybe D&D. I don't know. But I'm 59, and all the people here that play are like youngsters. They're still wet behind the ears. So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe one of these days. There are some retired dudes like me. You never know. Somebody might get interested in one-page rules, and I would like to do that one of these days. I really would. To see if I like it, because I think I would like it. I think that would be a good social activity and have some fun doing it. David says, my Jewish buddy who looks like he was a blonde Chinese Jew or Mongolian was big into D&D. A Mongolian Chinese Jew. What a combination. Of course, during Hanukkah, you go get Chinese food, so those things kind of go together. It's Critical says, also printed out stuff for my comic book collections and stuff around the house. Yeah, I've done some functional prints as well. I've also done some stuff on the Creality Cloud, which, okay, now Creality Cloud is working. Before, I was trying to get onto it and I couldn't see it, but now it's working. Critical says, I use D&D at my work with kids that are special needs and they love the game. Cool. That is awesome. That is really cool. I think back how much trouble I would have gotten into if I didn't get into D&D, even though I did get into trouble and I went to jail and I had to go in the Army. I didn't have to go in the Army, but going into the Army was highly favored by the judge as I got in trouble as I went to juvenile court for various crimes. Yeah, it was quite the interesting thing. But yeah, I can imagine how much more trouble I would have gotten into if I wasn't into D&D as a kid. There's that camaraderie of the game, there's social interaction, you learn how to talk, you learn how to do problem solving, you have fun doing it at the same time. Not that, you can have fun learning a lot, but there's some things you got to learn, you just don't have fun. But yeah, it's unfortunate that my parents got rid of all that stuff. And I honestly believe that because they did that, that is why I got into the trouble that I did. I'm not as an excuse to say I didn't do it. What I did was wrong, without a doubt. So, yeah. David says, nicely done. That's great. I mean, that's awesome to share. To see stuff like that, that is really, really cool. Yeah, I had to sign into the service when I turned 18. Oh, okay. So fellow partner in crime. But good stuff. Critical. Good job on that. That is always good. That is good. That, I wish there was more of that. I wish there was more stuff like that. I wish there was more common sense stuff. I wish we had higher standards in school as well, but that's all gone away. But, there's some of those things that I wish that kids could still be kids. And I think as an adult, somebody who adulted since 17 until 54 or whatever it was, that I didn't do any of those fun things again, those creative things or those social interaction things. I was, blowing up stuff, shooting and moving and communicating and all that, working security, being an adult all the time. I really think that if I carried on and did some of that fun stuff as an adult, I wouldn't have run into as many problems as I did. So, but it is what it is. I'm trying to make up for that time. We'll see how that goes. Critical says, I want to get a group going with some vets. My cousin is an Army vet and he loves to play when we can. Oh, that would be good. That would be good. And for those of you who don't know, I retired in the military, got out, did real estate investing. That all crashed and burned. There was a horrible story about that. Worked with family. It didn't work. And then I worked in prisons for 11 years, and then I was an electronics technician. I did that. And then after I got out working for the prisons, I did prison ministry for a number of years. And because there's a lot of vets, there's a lot of veterans in prison. And when I was working in prisons, I had inmates that worked for me, and we just immediately hit. We had that camaraderie, and it's like, hey, you said you were military, where were you at? Where'd you go? And all this stuff. You kind of feel each other out. Because a lot of inmates will BS you. But there's a lot of vets. And so that's what led me to do prison ministry stuff. And just being able to hang around other veterans. That was kind of a bonus as well. As much as they say that what we did helped them, it really helped me more, I think. I don't know. It was just really, really a good time. But yeah, that'd be pretty cool. There's a lot of veterans. We live close to a military base here in Korea. David says, I was on a Goodwill tour as a banker working in Japan for a Tokyo bank and came back to the New York branch right before 9/11. Oh, wow. That's crazy. Working in Japan. I spent like 2 nights in Japan. I was flying over to Korea. They stopped in Japan, and then they came on the flight and they said, hey, we overbooked the flight. Does somebody want to volunteer to stay in Japan for a couple of nights? We'll put you up in a hotel. They'll pay for the hotel and everything. And I was like, me, I'll do it. Wow, it was so expensive in Japan. Holy crow, that was in the 80s. But then I hooked up with this Japanese guy, a businessman, and he took me out, paid for everything. He had a wad of bills to choke a horse, and we just ate and drank, and it was incredible. There's no way I could pay for any of that. But we had a really good time, and it was really good. But now that I'm married and the wife, we're planning on going to Japan to check that out. We want to take some trips there. Want to check out Japanese hot springs. Want to do that. Of course, Japanese food, love that as well. But I need to make sure that the hot springs that we go to allows people with tattoos, because I've got a little bit of ink. So a lot of those places don't allow you to do that. So we need to do a little bit of that. But I would like to check out Japan before volcanoes and tsunamis and earthquakes put that thing under the water. I'd like to visit there again. It would be good. I think that would be a good little trip. And we're close by. So we'll see how that goes. For those of you, I want to show you, this is Life Creality Cloud page, free models. Boom. If you look in the comments section, and we'll take a look at this. So there's my page. I know it's not much. And what I ended up doing is I have some models here that I started using. Tinkercad, like a little single airbrush stand, some paintbrush holders, racks, stands, whatever, build plate holders, a Stanley dual melt pro gun holder thing that works pretty decent. And then I did some other stuff here. Hex shelves, a little wall mount, paint rack, which is super easy. Again, I'm simple on Tinkercad. Paint rack, some other stuff, cell phone, teleprompter thing. I got some other things, but all of these things are free. Oh, and then a rotating paint rack, I did that for the Art Deco and some of the larger paints that I have. Actually, that's on, if we take a look at that, where is it? Boom. You can actually see the, let's take a look at that. Where is it? Boom. So if you look in that top right corner, there is the Art Deco paint rack that I made. And let me see, I wonder if I can change that. Can I change that a little bit? Nope, that's pretty much it. But the cool thing is that this, I was able to use a Lazy Susan on the bottom, and then these other, it's just kind of cool. So that worked out pretty good. But the cool thing that I want to let you know, let's get back to here, is that all of the models on the page that are on that link are all free. So feel free to download them, do whatever you want, improve them, remix them, whatever you want to do. So there's that there. Like I said, it's Tinkercad. So they're not going to be the best models in the world. They're not going to be Fusion 360 quality by any means. But it's something, I don't know. Maybe somebody get a kick out of that. I don't know. We'll see what happens. It's a Critical says, is it because tats are linked to crime? No. Japan is just real. They associate tattoos with criminal behavior. So while tattoos today are just kind of a I don't know, just kind of a lifestyle choice. It's just kind of an artsy type of thing to express oneself. Japan still sees that as being a negative. And so there's some people that I know that went to Japan that are like, yeah, they wanted to go to a hot spring. And it's like, no, you can't. You have to, and this guy had like two full sleeves, and he had like part of a chest and he had some back, and they're like, yeah, you would have to put patches over that to come in here. Yeah, that wasn't going to happen. So he found out that there was a lot of places, a lot of those hot springs that won't allow you in if you have tattoos. Or if you can't cover them up. If you cover them up, you can go. But even then, some of them will say no. They just don't want you to do that. So yeah, it's kind of a weird thing. Kind of strange. Dave says he had 0 tattoos or piercings. Yeah, I used to have my ear pierced. That was way back in the day. But I got some tats, and it is what it is. But yeah, you're not missing much. But there's still hope. You can still get one. I mean, get one tattoo. At least you can say you got a tattoo. I don't know. Depends. Beer gardens in Germany are the same way. Really? Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I did hear that there are some places, what was it, in the UK, that if, like neck tattoos on your neck or visible tattoos, that they wouldn't let you into certain clubs or places, establishments. I've heard that in the UK, and I think Germany as well. I didn't know about the beer gardens, though. So it's interesting. Interesting indeed. So other than that, that's what we got going on. I think what we'll end up doing is, I think we beat the miniatures to death. We'll see. Big Xandroid says he's got a few tats. Yep. Of course, during my time, it was kind of a thing, especially if you're in the military or that. And, you know, there's always that. There's always that. Hey, we got Star Killer. Star Killer pops up and says, evening. Hey, we just went over the miniatures that we made, and you'll have to go back, but we did a couple more. We did, of course, this big one, and as you can see there, I wish that would focus. We could do like a manual focus, but it doesn't. But this is the one that we ended up doing, and we primed in black, and then we did the white with the zenithal, and yeah, that turned out pretty good. So we did that one. Then I thought, well, I want to do a true 32 millimeter miniature. So I printed out two more, and we got that guy there. And of course, it's not focusing. But they turned out pretty decently. Focus, focus, focus. I don't know. That's the only thing I don't like about this camera, is it doesn't have a real clear focus. But the quality turned out pretty decent. I mean, for 0.08, that one, and then we did this one here, and we did some photos. So, how the supports. The supports on the two black ones, I upped the top Z distance to 0.27, and they, I don't know, we got supports, and it supported the models. It worked, but I think I would go like 0.25 or 0. Excuse me, I think 0.25 would be good. You get the support, you get a little bit of contact. The 0.27, I think there's just a little bit too much space there. Some people swear by it, but I decided to try it on those two. It worked, but I would have just like a little bit of extra, maybe 0.26. Throw it at that. Asking about the default or the 0.24. We did 0.27, and that was using the 0.4 nozzle, and the layer height was 0.08. So yeah. But the top Z distance, we did 0.24 on this guy here, and if you watch those videos, you saw how those came off pretty good. We got some pretty good details on this. And off of the 0.27, a lot of them fell off. Excuse me. And it did well. So yeah, I'd be between 0.24, 0.25, 26, 27. I don't know. Try it. See what happens. It turned out really good. So we'll see. So the next step, like we ended up doing with this guy, of course everybody else knows, is we zenithal that, and we're going to spray paint and prime these guys black, and we'll do a white zenithal, and then we'll do another video where these are the resin printed dudes, same figures. Of course they're a little bit bigger. But we will paint these other ones, and we'll see how it looks, kind of do a comparison. But I don't know, for tabletop gaming, you know, if you hold this at arm's distance, it looks pretty good, you know. And I imagine with these being painted, you know, if you're doing a game and you're standing up or sitting and this is on the table in front of you, unless you really get up on it, it looks like the character. So, I don't know. It'll be really good. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, yeah, some good stuff. So we'll do some more. The other video, we'll prime those other ones up, and then the next video that we're going to do is we'll just, boom, we'll get over to the paint station. We'll use the Army speed paints, and we'll kind of knock them out quick. These have been painted. I've been painting on these for over a year. Oh my gosh, seriously. It has been way too long. But we'll try to hurry up with the speed paints on these, and we'll try to knock it out on one video and see if we can just blast through it. Maybe we'll do one video on this with the speed paints. We'll knock this guy out, and then we'll see how that goes, and then we'll do a second video with the two other ones, and we'll try to go balls to the wall and see what we can get done with that, and then we'll compare them and see how those go. So yeah, that's what we got going on. Good stuff. So you got here just in time. So we'll see how it goes. Oh yeah, by the way, Star Killer, I took up your recommendation to look up battle reports, and I found Mini Wargaming. Their channel has like 512,000 subscribers, but they do the one-page rules and like show you how they play and all of that stuff. So I'm checking that out. So if anybody's into war games and you're tired of the stupid expense of Warhammer, the one-page rules is one page of rules, makes it pretty simple, and you can use whatever characters you want, any figures you want. So and they've got a paid version as well, but hey, I'm cheap and easy. So I'm going to check out this one-page rule thing and see how that goes. Yeah, I'd like to find somebody local to do that, to try that. So I'll keep trying. We'll see how it is. Let's see, some other stuff. Let me take a swig, and you all can hit the like button for this video. I would appreciate that. So go ahead and hit that up. Trying to get rehydrated. Gym was rough today. Arm day. But I checked out some anime. I started watching the Vinland Saga. So trying to check that out. And then there was a couple other ones. Vinland, Solo Leveling. I haven't looked at that yet. And then the other one was the Hidden Dungeon City. That looks a little cheesy. I don't know if I'll like that one or not. And then Anime Claymore. I don't know if I'll like that or not. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We will see how it goes on some of those. But I'm starting to expand my mind and my horizons with anime and manga. I mean, after all, I'm in Korea. There's a lot of manga here. So, and there's so much manga in Japan. There's something for everyone. I'm just trying to find what I like. Well, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Okay. Yeah, thanks for the likes on the video. I appreciate it. Let's see. Dun, dun, dun. It's Critical says Frostgrave is also a good one. Well, let me pull that up. I'm going to bring that up in the browser. Frostgrave. Or Frostgrave anime or, oh, the game. Okay. Oh, it's a game. Okay. Frostgrave. Okay. I'll take a look at that. And the thing is, I'm kind of limited by being here in Korea. Because I'm here in Korea. There's not a real big gaming with foreigners going on thing. It's hard to find that stuff. But I am next to a U.S. military base, and there are some people that do gaming. Seems like a lot of people do Magic the Gathering and that type of stuff. I don't know if I'm into that at all. I've never actually watched a Magic the Gathering. I don't know. I'm kind of more of a Warhammer one-page rules type of person, I think. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, Frostgrave is a game of wizards battling through a ruined frozen city in search of magical artifacts. Osprey Games and North Star military figures have teamed up to bring you a range of specifically designed miniatures to use with Frostgrave. Okay. Interesting, interesting. Star Killer says the basic rules are free. I'm assuming he's talking about one-page rules. Yep. And they got some free miniatures that you can print out as well. And they got the best army builder out there, and it's free. Critical says solo leveling is good. I'll check that out, that's for sure. Biggs is like, ooh, that takes forever to play. The book is $30, and then you can use it with any minis that you want. Oh yeah, the one-page rules. Yeah, $30, that isn't bad. Star Killer says, he says, you're not missing anything on Magic the Gathering. Yeah, that and Pokemon, I don't think, that's not my thing. Critical says, have you tried to use Tabletop Simulator to play some games with people you know? No, I have not. I have no idea. If you know of a simulator, I would like to try that. I don't know, if you could play solo and try to learn how to play, that would be kind of helpful. David pops up and says, sleep time for me. Now, early day shopping for late night gifts. Latinate gifts? Latinate? I'm not sure what that is. Late night gifts? Latinate. I know I heard that before. It says having the character of Latin. Latinate. Some Latinate gifts. We're going for the Latin gifts now. I went to Catholic private school for a few years with nuns and the whole 9 yards. That was quite the... I had last minute gifts. Oh, okay, last minute gifts, not Latinate gifts. I thought it was kind of like a Catholic Franciscan monk type of thing that you had going on there. But no, last minute gifts. Okay, good. Yeah, but I went to private Catholic school for a couple of years to try to rehabilitate me because I had issues. Nuns can swing a ruler like nobody's business. It's absolutely crazy. Star Killer says there's another game out called Blackout. It's made by military personnel, and a skirmish game is set in the near future. BLK out. BLKOUT. Sci-fi tactical tabletop game. Interesting. David says something more for your girlfriend. Yeah, getting Aladdin stuff probably wouldn't work well for girlfriend. You would need a smell good stuff, roses stuff, pretty stuff, you know, make her feel special. That's the important thing. You got to make them feel special. Star Killer says Gorilla Miniatures or Gorilla Games is the YouTube channel. Oh, take a look at that. As if I don't have enough stuff to watch already on YouTube. YouTube. Gorilla Miniatures game. Gorilla Miniatures game. Okay. Oh, Gorilla Miniature Games. Okay, got it. I've got that. I will put that on the queue. I will watch that along with the mini wargaming. Okay, so we'll do that. Star Killer says he shows how it's played and the battle reports and everything. Okay, cool. Yeah, there's so many games out there. That's the thing. I mean, back in the day, D&D was it. D&D was like the game. And then actually Warhammer was during that time, shortly after that. And then that kind of started just prior. When did Warhammer start? I want to say it was the 80s. When did it start? I want to say the 80s. Yeah, 83. Yep. Began in 1983 with the release of its first edition by Games Workshop by Brian Ansel, Richard Halliwell, and Rick Priestley. And then Warhammer 40,000 launched in 1987. Yeah, I knew it. Never got into it way back in the day. Yep, he says the first game was in 1985. Wow. That's when I was in the Army. That's crazy. How long ago that started. That is crazy. Wow. The first initial release sold in a box containing 3 booklets covering rules, magic characters with a print run of 3,000 copies. I imagine that would probably be worth a little bit of money now these days. David says, goodbye, my friend. Nicely done. Thank you for sharing. Well, welcome. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate the conversation. You and your girlfriend have a good time during the holidays. Dark Killer says he played it back in the 90s. Wow. And then he got into Battletech. I think I remember Battletech. Of course, I never played any of that stuff. But I heard stuff about it. Let me see if it's the thing I was talking about. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, that looks familiar. Not that I played it, but I remember it. Interesting. Man, so many games. That's crazy. Wow. Star Killer says, didn't go back to 40K for many years, though. Yeah, that didn't happen until much later. And then, like when I got here to Korea, I retired when I was 54. Spent a year on Oahu, soaking up the sand and being on the beach in Waikiki and all that cool stuff. And then when we got here to Korea, that's when I got into the Warhammer figures as something to do, just to paint. Then I thought, well, we'll try to paint those things, learn how to paint first, and then maybe I'll be able to find somebody to do some Warhammer. And then I found out they're insanely expensive. And then, holy crap, they're expensive. And then went down the 3D printing rabbit hole of where we are now. So, yeah, I don't know, the one-page rule things. I think that's the one that sticks out for me. I think that's good because it's cheap. Supposedly it's easier than Warhammer 40K. We'll see what happens. I don't know. Hopefully some people will be into that and I can kind of follow them around and see how that works and see if that's something I would like to do. I would like to try it and yeah, I'd like to give it a shot. Okay, with that being said, it is 4:52 here in Korea. Dun, dun, dun. Star Killer says Tabletop Simulator on Steam. Okay, something else I need to look at. Tabletop Simulator on Steam. I'll take a look at that. I wasn't really, I think I did something on Steam a long time ago. I don't know if it really caught my eye though. Star Killer says 2 a.m. there. 2 a.m. Wow. Of course, it's the holidays, so yeah, I get it. It makes sense. But yeah, I'm starting to get hungry. I've got another half sandwich that I got to eat, so I'm going to go do that. But be sure to like and subscribe to stay on to the channel, where we will end up the next video. We will paint this guy with the Speed Paint 2.0, and then the video after that we'll do these other two dudes that we printed out on the K2 Plus, which are pretty interesting. And especially with this guy, throw some paint on him, I think that would be tabletop ready. It is doable, entirely doable. So we'll see it is. It's where you can play all kinds of stuff on there. Oh yeah, Steam, yeah, tons of stuff on Steam, that's for sure. I just don't know, we'll see. I'll look up that Tabletop Simulator and see what they've got going on. Yeah. Oh, they got a Warhammer tabletop Digital tabletop. Wow. So many things and not enough time. Going to watch some anime myself in bed before I set up the table for my solo game later today. Awesome. Good stuff. Gotta love that. We're going to do some eating. I'll do some priming and painting on those things to get them ready for future videos. We'll do that, and then I'll check out the plethora of other items and other things that have been recommended to me. So we'll see how that goes. So anyway, cool. Yeah, hopefully I'll be able to run into some people, be able to maybe do some gaming this coming year. That'll be interesting. But with that said, I think we're going to go ahead and we'll call this done for today. And again, the obligatory outro video screen. If you want to contact me, there's my email address. I always answer my email, at least within 1 or 2 days. So if you want to get in contact with me for links, tips, tricks, make me a better painter, printer, human being, whatever it is, I need all the help I can get. Feel free to show me, send me pictures of stuff that you're doing. That's really cool. Like I said, one guy sent me a picture of the ribs he was smoking, and yeah, they looked smoking hot. They looked really good. So yeah, the other stuff, whatever, do that. Appreciate it. You all have happy holidays. I'll probably do another video tomorrow. We'll paint that one guy up and we'll run from that, run that next. We'll see how that goes. And yeah, enjoy your evening, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you on the next one. All right. Biggs Android says, peace. Be keeping it cool. Star Killer, Nedventive, anybody else who's still, we got 7 people on here, and I think David already took off. Critical might still be on. So that means that we still have some other people that haven't commented. They're just kind of hanging out in the wings, and that's okay. You can do that. But George, so yeah, we probably got a few people that are just kind of Chris Silly might be here. Of course, yeah, we talked about George. We got any other new people? K. Diaz, he was here for a while. Adam Sivak was here for a while. Maybe he's still on there. I don't know. Enjoying Biggs, of course. Sultan, he was weighed out. Oh yeah, Sultan was here. So yeah, we had quite a few people here. So it's pretty good. So anyway, happy holidays, and we will see you on the next one. Peace. Keeping it real and have fun.